for a panel discussion. Please give all our panelists a big hand. Let me introduce them one by one. Mr. Raghvendra Verma, Group Head, Legal Compliance and Company Secretary at ISON Group. Ms. April Raimundo, Senior Director, Investment Compliance and Risk, Legal APAC at Greystar. Our third panelist is Ms. Tania Pavaskar, Senior Compliance Counsel at AutoDesk. And Mr. Kiat Seng, ex-Group Head of Compliance, Grab and Lazada.
So good morning to all of you once again. This is Raghvendra Kumar Verma. Once again, I already introduced myself in the beginning. Again, short, I am heading the legal compliance and the risk and group company secretary of the ISON. We are expert in Africa, Middle East, and India per se. All the area of legal compliance and risk. Today we are going to discuss a very, very relevant topic of these days, particularly for us, for the legal professional, compliance professional, that is metamorphosis of GRC, cognitive AI and ML solution. And we are fortunate to have three excellent speakers today. And we'll start with Mr. Kiat. Sorry, sir, pardon me if I'm taking your name wrongly. He needs no introduction as far as the Singapore is concerned. He is an experienced compliance and legal professional with a breadth and depth of experience in helping companies and clients navigate the challenging business environment of the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. Kiat has spent past 6 years helping 2 Southeast Asian tech unicorns in quick succession to establish and scale up the governance, risk, and the compliance function. In a latter case, this included ramping the company up for an IPO on the NASDAQ, which includes setting up the framework, policy, and process that would pass under the US SEC. He worked with the many blue chip companies and helped them to set up their legal compliance function, and such as Fujitsu, DTH, and Davita. In his previous inning, he was a partner of Baker McKenzie, based in Singapore, and was heavily involved in the dispute resolution, compliance and insurance, restructuring and insolvency, and so on and so forth. And he was also professor at the law school at National University of Singapore for more than 20 years, and published many write-up and articles on criminal law and insurance and reinsurance law. So I request a big round of applause for him. The next speaker we have Ms. April Ramanaidu. Sorry, again is a dual qualified lawyer, England and Wales plus Philippines, with experience both in international law firm and in-house in the last 10 years. She has become highly specialized in the fund practice, asset management, private debt and real estate as the legal compliance head of the investment management firms in Singapore. She was included in 2016 edition of the Asian Legal Business 40 under the 40 brightest legal mind in India, mind in Asia under the age of 40, and the Legal 500 Asia Pacific GC Power List in 2022. She currently leads the legal and compliance team for Greystar's Asia Pacific business and was their first hire in Singapore. Wow. In this role, she observed Greystar Code of Conduct and Regulatory Compliance Program in the region. In addition, April spearheads legal structuring, investor protection, documentation, and acquisition activity as Greystar. The global leader in the rental housing continues to invest across the region. She has a vast experience also in setting up their regulatory platform in Singapore, Geneva, Dubai, Melbourne, and Istanbul. Please give him the big round of applause to her. And also we have the Tania Pavaskar. Tania is a New Zealand trained and qualified lawyer. She earned her LLB from the University of the Auckland. Since more than last 10 years, she is in Singapore, and she has worked at the several Fortune 500 companies like BP, Standard Chartered, Rio Tinto, LexisNexis. She found her friend here also. And these MNCs span across sectors such as mining, technology, pharma, hospital, and so forth, so on and so forth. She has a vast experience of the strategizing and the building compliance program for the different industry. Particularly, one of our key contributions has the gamification of the compliance training. She built an award-winning game in her past role at the LexisNexis, and she enjoyed a lot of new restaurants in the Singapore. And I will ask her to suggest for something for me also. So give her the big round of applause. So to start with, we all know about the GRC. We heard about the GRC. The name GRC was coined almost 20 years back in US when the Sarbanes-Oxley rules came. And since then, organization has invested a lot in the GRC platform, the new technology. But the challenges they were facing since 20 years, most of the challenges is still persisting, and they are not able to find the solution. So now the firms, the corporation, organization are looking towards the platform which are the AI ML enabled platform with the cognitive capability to augment their compliance process, risk process, governance process. So on this background, I will ask Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, what are the areas in which GRC could leverage on AI ML solution for greater effectiveness?
Okay, thank you. I think that there are, I'll give a few examples. I mean, the first basis that we need to remember is that machine learning and AI goes beyond just automation. I mean, most of you, when you advise your clients or those of you who are in companies, would know that one of the things that we try to do is to leverage off technology. Back to Adrian's point, everything is on technology these days. What we can do is beyond just automating processes, how do we basically use machine learning and AI in order to take it the next step? I mean, that is the important thing. And what we can do, and I think this will be very of great interest to a lot of lawyers here, is this. The accountants are ahead of us in this respect. One of the areas that we can do it is when we do a fraud investigation or fraud monitoring. You can actually get the data sets, all right, and look at the practices of teams over a period of time. That's when you are able to set the average marker. And then when somebody during your monitoring exceeds either the number of times or the value, then it is a case for you to look further into it. It is not the silver bullet that answers all your questions, but it enables you, all right, by saving time and having it constantly monitored by a machine or by your system to pick out problems that you want to look into. So that's one thing. Another area I'll just give an example of is this. Companies, particularly tech companies, and I think in India you have lots of unicorns as well. I mean, same for Southeast Asia. So one of the things that keeps me up at night, because I was also head of privacy, and I was also interim CISO for about 8 months, was this. How do I know that people are not walking away with the most precious asset I have, which is the intellectual property, the work of my company? And how do I know when people are leaving? The first instinct they have is to try to take away the work. So that's when you can set up monitoring as well. And for each team or each individual, you can have a trend that marks how many documents do they download per month. And if it is an aberration over a period of time, especially just after they tendered their resignation, you can pick it up and you can go and look into the documents they're downloading and where are they downloading to. and is it legitimate? So it becomes a platform for you to be able to focus your resources on certain incidents. I think I'll leave it there with just those two examples.
Thank you very much. Any, Ms. April, you want to add?
I can describe how we use AI in the company.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so, well, first of all, let me give you a background of the company that I work for. Greystar is the global leader in rental housing. So we have over 22,000 employees from Europe, the US, and in Asia Pacific. And we operate under a very tightly regulated industry. We're regulated by the US SEC, by regulators in Asia and also in Europe. So it becomes a very heavy burden on the compliance department to constantly monitor all of the compliance requirements that the regulators impose and assume and expect for us to look after over such a global team base. So we do use technology and AI in terms of monitoring, for example, email communications to detect fraud or non-compliance practices from the team. So as my esteemed panelist mentioned earlier, so we do use it for fraud detection, but not just in an accounting context. We use it for tracking email communications to look for, suspicious transactions, suspicious communications. We also use it to flag emails or communications that needed compliance approval before they are sent out to clients. So it's physically impossible for a person or for the compliance team to monitor the emails of 22,000 team members, but technology and AI allows us to streamline that by through technology and by just flagging certain of the emails that would need the compliance team to review. So that's one example. Greystar is also, in the real estate business. So a lot of the compliance requirements that we look after is also not just the regulatory requirements, but also sustainability, ESG. And we do use technology to make our reporting processes more efficient. For example, we manage over $220 billion worth of properties across the globe. And for most, if not all of those properties, we want to be able to track our energy consumption under our sustainability program. So all of those assets would, as you can imagine, have their own power bill, water bill, gas bill. And so we do use technology and AI to screen through all of those utility bills, amass all the data, and to feed that into the reports that we use to comply for ESG reporting requirements. So I think personally it's still early days because we don't use AI for the whole suite of GRC activities, but it's become really necessary.
Wonderful, because the compliance, because of this regulatory change, and most of the organization is not in the one country. It has spread the wings into almost all the jurisdiction, and different companies. The regulators are enforcing because of so many fraud is happening. Fraud mentioned both of my esteemed panelists across jurisdiction. We are witnessing fraud in our system also. Customers are doing frauds. We are servicing to the telecom industry, and that fraud is happening by using, they are transferring your data to another data also, so this type of things. So compliance, government is coming very hard on the compliance part. And one country based out of so many countries, and keeping and understanding the regulatory change is really getting difficult. And in this way, I personally failed. I am using one platform right now, Lexis, and it's really helping me a lot. Tania, are you using some AI related platform? Can you share your experience?
Sure. So as you guys have heard, I've worked at different companies in Singapore, at Marriott, now at AutoDesk, and before at LexisNexis. So in terms of AI, right, the current company I work at, called AutoDesk, what they do and what they've been doing is design for engineering. So they create tools for creators, for engineers, for architects, for media. And one of these tools is doing something called generative design. Okay, like I entered this room, and one thing I wished for was this iPhone right here, borrowing it for a second, would take my temperature and realize my temperature is dropping, tell the aircon in the vents that, hey, lots of people, their temperature is dropping, let's automatically increase the temperature, right? That's the future. That's the future the lawyer of the future wants. Insights that are actionable, not just a lot of content. So with that, the company where I work right now, what they do is called predictive design. So for example, if someone wants to build a building, the predictive tool will run in the background and keep telling you like 400, 500 different iterations of the design that you need to change. Like for example, will this pillar take that much weight? Yes, no, what are other ways to do it? So my wish, right? My wish is that we have a risk assessment on a similar design principle, which is predictive. There is a data set, there is a big data lake, every data in the system speaks to each other. A compliance professional is no longer making a risk assessment design in a silo. The tools we use today are not like that. The tools we use today are still just like tools. So for example, there is a very good tool that I've used in the past called Lexis Due Diligence, which runs sanction screening. So you can put a batch screening and it will screen across all alerts. Now in this context, let's look at Russia and Ukraine, right? A lot of us lawyers in the room, at least me when I was working at Marriott, ran to 2 international law firms, not one, because one couldn't provide us enough updates. In the background, we had steering committees in-house where we were like, let's see how many Russian owners do we have? How many Russian oligarchs are holidaying at W in Maldives? Are they paying us in rubles? What credit cards are they using? So imagine if we had some tools, some data sets, everything that spoke to each other, and we could get this information, right, in one go, which would tell us what's our exposure to Russia internally immediately. The tool, the LexisNexis due diligence tool, would look at this data set, which our company has, and tell us what are the actionable insights, what we should do, like that, quickly. So that's my desire, and I've not yet found this tool, but that's my desire.
Wonderful. And see, so as you said, this is your desire. So if you see the journey of the GRC platform, it's started from 2002 onwards, and the expert divided into the 5 category, 5 stages. So right now we are talking about the cognitive capability, that is they call GRC 5.0. 2002 to 2007, 2007 to 2012, then 2012 to 2017. 2017 onwards, there was a vast change in the GRC technology, and many companies, few are really company platform are very good. One of the Lexis, and there are a few others. I'm just missing one name. That name is some .ai, but I'm missing that name. They came to my organization for that, and they ran. We are in the South Africa also, and one case, there was a case of the sexual harassment in my organization. They took almost 70-80 cases. They ran on the AI system, and with the predictive analysis, they told us that what is going to happen in the court if you are going to take this case to the court. So that was wonderful, Tania, that you mentioned that, the predictive analysis. So that is already started now. So So with all that background, I will ask, request Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, will AI or ML enable GRC team? Hello? Yeah, yes, sir. So will AI or ML enable GRC team to build better behavior models in order that limited resources can be deployed in the focused manner?
No, absolutely. All right. I am fortunate that I came from 2 tech companies in a row. I have many problems in life. Not enough engineers is not one of them. And so in the Alibaba world, the technology is always running in the background. Ali built its own. So in Grab, we were building our own as well. So what we do is we actually pull from all sorts of sources, all sorts of data that's available to us. Employee data, data on our Oracle financial systems, data on our T&E claims, things of that sort, all right? And of course, you also have all the approvals that you get as part of a compliance team. Conflict of interest, claims for what you might call, going beyond your gift entertainment and meals policy or limits, things of that sort. You can actually build a model of each team that you have. You can build country, you can build according to the team, the vertical, you can build according to the sub-team, so that you know, when I call for data, I will get a BI, what you might call, graphical charts and all that to show how are they doing. And you can compare them to the median to see, are they unusual or are they normal? And you can even compare over a period of time, what's the trend like? And these are the sort of things that are very useful for you, because then, number one, you know who to look out for. Number two, you know when to look out for someone, because there's unusual behavior that's straying from the norm that's been set historically. And number three, it goes to the point which Tania was talking about, predictive. All right? There's one company that does fantastic, one of the software giants. I don't think I'm at liberty to say the name because it was in a private sharing. Their predictive analytics took them 20 years journey to get there. All right? But today, I think most of the companies, if you have the data, if you have the tech resources, you have the data analysts, you have the coders, you probably could take a much shorter journey, 5 years. And a lot of our service providers are starting to learn that is the demand that the governance, risk, and compliance functions want. And I was just talking to one of the vendors, Diligent, and they're actually looking at that as well, trying to bring everything together. We have data, tons of it. You just don't realize it's there. Number two, there's no confluence of that data, because with that data, you can build a more complete picture.
Thanks, sir. Thank you very much. April, do you want to add?
Well, certainly. I think there are many more challenges. There are quite a number of benefits to adopting technology and AI into GRC, but there are still a lot of challenges that can be overcome. First of all, let's face it, it's expensive. It's not all companies can be unicorn tech companies that can develop their own data. If you want to use a third-party software like we do, we're not a tech company, so we use a third-party sourced. It's expensive. It comes at a cost. It also is not a turnkey solution. AI needs to learn what your risk appetite is, what your risk metrics are, and it's quite a project management endeavor that you have to have not just the compliance team on board, but the entire organization. And it really would take a lot of time to develop to get right. So I think that's one of the bigger challenges to adopting it more widely.
Yeah, so you rightly mentioned that it's come with the cost. But at the same time, you need to see that the cost that if you take the time and the manpower to read a law, decipher the law, find the control, the process, the policy that we have to make by the law, the putting so much money on that the manpower, the bandwidth of your employees. And this technology, as per my experience, I've seen that read the law, interpret the law, identify the gaps with your current policy, where are the gaps, and suggest you within unimaginable way, they can suggest you to how to move forward. And also, they suggest the template. Obviously, AI is the system that we have to train. It's take a data. If you are feeding the wrong data to the AI, you are going to get the wrong results. So we have to train the AI system. But with this cognitive capability that natural language processing is coming, the predictive analysis that Tania was talking, these are all making this system very robust. And that will, in the long term, in the short term, yeah, it's costing, but in the long term, it's really going to help. And as a lawyer, we know that we lawyers still want to do some. I have also habit to print out and then read that contract not on that laptop. But yeah, things are changing. Things are changing. So, Tania, do you have to say anything here?
Yeah, so, okay, so there are two things, right? One we were speaking about just now, which is saving time and using less resources. So in-house legal teams are super lean and we have limited budget. We can spend it on external counsel when we really need them, or we can spend them in-house on hiring more people. So during the pandemic, this new problem emerged, okay? Everyone's doing side gigs, side businesses, and conflict of interest, which should really, in my opinion, go to HR and not come to me, are coming to me. Okay, so for that, using AI would be great, something like that, where, for example, you have this data set where you know the employee's behavior, whether their performance is going down. We have employee monitoring tools. Are they opening their emails in a timely manner? How much time do they take to open these emails? Combined with the fact that the manager has waived a conflict. So we keep monitoring that behavior. Something like that, maybe I would want to use it for. But then let's say it's something more intense, and after a time, I can't explain the result, which is the bad side, right, of predictive analysis. So this bad side of predictive analysis is where the data scientist, the lawyer, the operations people, no one can tell why this has come up with this result. Like it suddenly suggests something that is unexplainable. And the US, China, and who else? EU, of course, are trying to regulate these things, are coming up with principles around it. But I think while you would want to use it, that leap, right, that giant leap where predictive analysis comes up with some answer to you that is just not explainable, and maybe it's the right answer, is somewhere where we have to decide whether we can do that or not for ourselves. So I think that's like my conundrum.
Yeah, I think just to add, definitely, the technology will help with the managing and processing data, but it's not going to be able to replace a lawyer who will look at the data, make an analysis, and make the call. So all of the flags or the reports that the tools would produce will still have to go through a set of eyes, qualified ones that can take a call, make a decision on whether or not, to go ahead or flag something, escalate it, or do changes on the process. So it's certainly in line with what Adrian said. It's definitely a tool for a lawyer of the future, and it will not, I think, replace all of our jobs as legal and compliance professionals, but will make it more, value add.
Thank April. So obviously, it's not going to take that lawyer's job. Effectively, honestly, it's going to help a lot to the lawyers. Like we heard in the morning what he was saying, Mr. Andrian, that now all the mundane work like noting, that the proofreading, everything, we will have the bandwidth and to do some value addition in the organization, to do some quality work, not that the mundane work and the paragraph change and something like that. So on the same note, I request Mr. Lee. So we have seen that you have heard that these people are talking about, our two panelists talking about that the challenges you may face when we deploy AI. So what is your view on the pros and cons of the such deployment?
No, I think the pros are really quite simple. I mean, for me, I ran big teams. I had lots of colleagues who worked together with me. What I want for them is to remove what I call the pure administrative work, plowing through data sets, that sort of thing. Nobody gets excited about. All right. Well, I mean, no, actually, I take that back. The data scientists get very excited about everything. All right, all the data. But to the rest of us, you want it distilled, all right, in order to mean something. And really, it helps enrich their lives, to Adrian's point. I mean, I want my teams to be excited, to be doing something new, to be pushing the boundaries. That's one. Two, of course, it saves man hours. Whenever I appear before my CFOs to ask for money, I would have calculated how many man hours I'm saving. And that one is a very difficult argument to make against. Because my view is I am not going to hire extra warm bodies to do manual work just to fire them after I'm done with them. I would rather invest in technology, because technology will always be there. Man hour, human beings will leave after a while. The cons, I think, it's not so much con. I think the first one is really the challenge. Whenever we talk about monitoring and all that, my HR teams will all sit up and say, you can't do that. I said, well, if you look at our privacy policy for employees, if you draft it properly, you make it very clear. We will monitor you for the sake of the company. We will monitor you. And they agree to it, and it's a legitimate interest, whether it's under GDPR, PDPA, or any of the privacy policies. Second thing that, sometimes you have to worry about is this. When you take the data in question, is the integrity of the data guaranteed? Because if not, the results you get may not be accurate. As the chairman, has said, rubbish in, rubbish out. That is a simple, point that all data scientists will tell you. The other con that I'm always concerned about is this. When you train the machine in a certain way, are we also subjecting it to our own prejudices, our own subconscious prejudices? Are we, say, for example, tweaking the system to look for what I call blue-collar crime rather than white-collar crime? And are we looking for when people try to rob the company? But how about situations where they benefit the company, like Enron, for example? You could argue what they did was to benefit the company. It benefited the stock price, but it was still wrong. Then how do you train your model to look out for things like that? So that's something which it's a constant, there's no end game to this. It's really a journey. It will get better. It will take time, but it will also need investment, all right, that I think companies need to know that it needs to be there. It's not a silver bullet. And it's certainly not something you can go down to the 7-Eleven downstairs and buy. Okay?
Thanks, sir. I 100% agreement with you. This the data integrity is paramount as far as this technology platform is concerned. If we are feeding wrong data, we are putting wrong data in the AI system, we are going to get that wrong result and that result that, and obviously we are going to rely on this data outcome, that the predictive analysis technology, the data feeding, integrity of data is the paramount there. Having said that, personally I see that for the legal fraternity, compliance fraternity, this is going to be a game changer. Tania, what is your view there?
Yeah, of course. It is going to be a game changer. We are late to the game, which I think many of us here acknowledge. Like I see what the engineers in my company are doing, because it's a company based on engineering, based on technology, right? And they have generative design for a building that comes up with like 400 possibilities, 500 possibilities like that quickly, about literally, like I was telling you, the weight and assessment. So now similarly, what AI, ML, generative predictive analysis, NLP, all that can help you do, one of the things is to read regulations, right? Like we were talking about the library, the young lawyer 30 years ago who would go to the library, read everything, make those things about the case, whether, how it has been decided later. So now a machine can read a whole new guideline that comes up, synthesize it, categorize it, and then give you actionable insights. There are many new guidelines, right? Like there's ESG coming up, and it's all in silos. It's in supply chain. It's in, the legal compliance field. Everyone has a ESG hat, and we are not all talking to each other that much. So something that is actionable there would be, I think, great, would be a great boon. Similarly, all these declarations we need to do, the new laws that come up, Web3, all these things that are out there, while a lot of lawyers like to read, it doesn't mean we have that much time to read all of this, digest all of it. So I think the leap forward for me would be one is in actionable insights. And I emphasize that because content is out there and too much. So actionable insights is one for me. And the other one, right, is about going back to the monitoring piece that we were speaking about. So the monitoring piece combines a little bit with, I think, NLP as well. So there are tools out there for people who are not in-house, for, some of you guys in the audience, some of you who go to the court. So there are tools that literally read judgments and tell you how this judge decides, okay? So like Judge Judy doesn't like guys who speak about sports. Talk to her about coffee and she'll rule in your favor, right? So I think I would like to see more of those sorts of tools when I look over my employee population and my partners, who are our biggest risk area. April, same for you, right? Like third parties, our biggest risk areas. So if we could get something in that direction, yeah, put in the data validators there, be able to explain the model, good data in, good data out, yeah, all there for it.
So they say it's a data ESG, AML is there, CFT is there, data privacy. Every country is coming with the data privacy. So many things are. Ms. April, what do you think about this game changing?
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, maybe the corporate community is ahead. But from the introductions this morning, I noticed a lot of the participants in the conference are from private practice and law firms. I think there are some AI tools that law firms can take advantage of as well. For example, well, it's not 30 years ago, like Adrian, but when I was an associate in Baker McKenzie, a big part of what we do during due diligence, for example, in M&A transactions, is to go through a thick pile of documents, to go through all of the key agreements, the corporate documents, transactions of an entity that we're acquiring. A huge part of my billable hours is that sorting through the mountain of documents. And I haven't been back in a law firm in a long time, but I hear that the technology already exists that allows AI to go through those documents and sort all of the take out all of the key provisions and condense them into a due diligence report that would have taken me weeks to produce manually. So those existed maybe 6-7 years ago. I think there might be a struggle in law firms, buying that technology, investing is expensive. Plus, if you can produce the due diligence report that quickly, how many billable hours do you lose out on billing? So I think there is maybe some disconnect between the goals of a law firm to charge billable hours versus the speed at which companies doing transactions would need the data. That may be causing a bit of the delay in the uptake of this technology in private practice, but something to look into. I think companies would be willing to pay to compensate for speed rather than a ton of associates piling through documents.
Yeah, so billable hour, very good point for the law firm here. See, last 6 months, we acquired 2 companies in South Africa. And we took service of, I will not take the name here, took the service of one very good law firm there. And they did due diligence for us, a huge volume of data in almost 15 days' time. That I was suspecting that they will take at least 2 months' time. There was accuracy, there was efficiency. They charge us, obviously, but I asked them how you did that, and they said we use this AI-based technology. So Mr. Lee, what you think is going to be a game changer?
No, absolutely. Okay, let me just quickly touch upon law firms. All right, guys, let's not kid ourselves. Most of our clients, or most of your clients, are not going to have bottomless legal budgets. All right, I face that challenge constantly. And you will be a trusted advisor who will get lots of work from the firm if you're able to show that you can maximize every dollar value for them. All right? It gone are the days where people don't ask questions where you blow like a few hundred or a few thousand hours just doing manual work. It doesn't work that way anymore. The world has changed. That's one. 2, the other thing which I just wanted to quickly point out that April did mention about emails, about sentiment and all that, there is increasingly technology that actually does more than just pick out keywords or suspicious words in emails. Now they pick up sentiment. The technology is out there. You ask your HR departments, they would know about it. But can that also be fed into the AI machine, all right, the engine, to actually also churn out where fraud is likely to happen? Because remember, one of the legs of the fraud triangle is justification. And justification comes from unhappy, pissed off employees. And you can tell the sentiment according to the software, all right? The last thing I'll just simply say is this. When I used to wear the hat of CISO, my teams used to come to me, and ask for all sorts of things. My leaders look at me and says, Kiat, why do you need so much resources? And my point to them is very simple. I am the watch function. But how do I know where do I watch with the limited number of watchmen that I have. And that's where AI and machine learning is going to help us focus on the areas that are the highest risk, where the highest likelihood of danger will be. And it's something that you actually use as part of your day-to-day analysis. You know, like football, right now the World Cup is on. I mean, it's really certain types of balls or certain types of play really will have a higher percentage of a goal being scored. This is just applying it in how we analyze risk and how we look at compliance issues. So it's a different area, but it's the same question we ask ourselves. How do we know what we need to watch? And I think that is what the big game changer is going to be. We will be better equipped and we can predict where the problems are.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. So at least this panel is unanimous that this is going to be a game changer. And I take it as a concluding remark that this cognitive AI and ML is going to be a game changer for we legal professionals. So thanks to all of my panelists. Any questions? Any question here? Okay, thank you for listening. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much. Thank you.